here we go. Okay, so we should be fine. Let me just make sure that I'm where I need to be here. Okay, all right, greetings, hello, welcome. So a little bit on the late side today, but that's fine. That happens. All right. Okay, and that's what I wanted. Okay, so what was going on this week? Well, lots of stuff for what was happening today. So cutting wood. Also, I was taking a walk, and while walking, I noticed that, or this past week, I've been thinking, the things that I'm doing are like years in the works. It's literally years. So these are things, the things that I'm working on, at least in terms of outside, are things, ideas that I'll probably never see physically materialize. Many of them, I'm sure I'm never going to physically see them materialize. These are things that I can vision. I have them in my eyes and my thoughts and my dreams. So I can see them, but I'm pretty sure that the process is not going to be so quick for me to be able to get there physically. So no matter how much I desire. So while thinking about that, I compare that to sometimes people's interpretations or beliefs in terms of what you're doing or where you are, or they tend to judge you on these levels of achievement or success, or however you want to view it. Um, and sometimes these goals or these visions that you have are simply not visible to others, and but that's okay. You know what I mean? That's okay. Um, but the important thing, I guess, is even when your goals and your visions and your dreams aren't necessarily seen by others, it doesn't mean that they are wrong or inconceivable or unachievable. That's the word I was looking for. So that's kind of part of the background behind this thing about mistakes and hierarchical living, right? Because this judgment that people have also tend to apply to many things. So again, while I was doing stuff outside, I was just thinking, um, it's really less farming, less. At first, then I thought maybe it was like teaching or education or whatever. But that again is kind of hierarchical, right? It doesn't have to be, but it does. It shows up like that, and that's not what I want. It's just living together, right? So the picture I was gonna use was a picture of a pussy willow, because pussy willows are happening right now. Everything is living at their own pace, doing their own thing, and especially on a farm or whether in school or whatever, the idea is that we grow together, right? So I do something, you do something, whatever, and then we come together and do things. It's really not a I told you or I'm telling you or you must do it this way. That's kind of what I mean by hierarchical living and scripted hierarchical living. Better is for just to observe and for us to just kind of grow together, right? No one being ruler over the other. Anyway, so that's where this idea of the mistake being a mistake or just a happening, and what happens during gatherings. And I was imagining going to a gathering, and I was just feeling so unfree. Just even the thought of going to the gathering, it just makes me feel so unfree, because you have to like kind of, you know, um, be present, but be present in a way that's acceptable, which is an interesting thing to consider. So hopefully, gatherings are getting out of that mess. Okay, that is fine for today. Thank you for joining in. Again, I apologize for being a little bit late. And here we go. Okay, I just realized I forgot to change something, so I'm gonna try to change that now if I can. And we'll just do it like this. Alright, is that correct? Yes. Okay, so I just wanted to change that. That should work out okay. And we will continue. And it's not like I love or I hate, the idea of hierarchy. It's just, in terms of life and living, right? Who's to say that this thing that's happening is better than something else? It's just the thing that's happening, right? Um, it's the same as saying that my life is more important or my contribution is more important than the mosquito's contribution, or what the actual plant wants to do is less than what I want the plant to do. You know what I mean? That's the idea. Um, I don't find that there's any solid base for the idea of hierarchy. I don't think we know enough about life to be able to say that this thing is more of a contribution or this thing is more important. I don't think we know enough about life to be able to say that, in all honesty, you know? Hmm. Okay, I'll just 5 more minutes since I was a bit late today. But just the thought that was coming while I was playing was so my grandmother. Well, I was thinking about lots of stuff actually, but this idea of anyways, kind of the idea of I guess what they would call permaculture. But then I think of my grandmother, for instance. My grandmother, who always lived in, she came from a farm, but always lived in rented houses in this in town, and each one that she would rent, she would plant a fruit tree. And so I think I've told this story before here on the lives, but there was one time, my mother remembers that there would be ladies who would come to the house sometimes with a bag of mango, saying, here you go, Miss G, bringing the fruit from the tree that she had planted at the last place where she was living as a rental, and so that's the idea of doing things where you know that you're not necessarily physically gonna see the end result. Although in this case, of course, she did. But it's the idea of permaculture. And so while we're on the family, there was Aunt Ag, who is my grandmother's aunt or cousin, and so at 94, you know what I mean, when we went to go visit her, she just knew the land that she was taking care of so well, that she could tell somebody exactly where to go, to find a ripe breadfruit to bring back to roast for us, the visitors, on our ancestral land. And at 94, she knew exactly where to tell the person to go. Um, and that's kind of the idea of permaculture, is that so she's not, and true, whatever, Jamaica's different, but in a way it's not. What I really appreciated about the experience with Aunt Ag is that, you know, after a few years of setting things up with a vision, you could then kind of just walk around and pick up stuff, and that is basically, you know, how you're living with the land and making a living from the land in that sense, right? Just walking around picking up stuff because of the the things, the decisions, the actions that you've made previously, you know, not immediate, thinking in years, sometimes in generations. So that's the idea of what is now being called permaculture, I guess. But the idea is just you're growing with the land, right? So that's today. I was gonna play a little bit more, but I have something to do upstairs, people to take care of. So thank you very much for tuning in today, and hopefully I'll be on time next week, and we'll see what the discussion is going to be next week. Okay, take care of yourself for the week, and we will see you.